Did you know the Friends of Hope is an initiative of Hope Media? Through this initiative, we are able to partner with others who are keen to ensure that we keep hope alive. Through your support, we are sharing the hope we have with many others who are yet to embrace hope. You too can become a part of this initiative today. Send your contribution of any amount to M-Pesa paybill number 933933. Account name Friends of Hope. For more information regarding Friends of Hope, please email friendsofhope@hopefm.org or SMS FOH to 20933. Join Friends of Hope today. Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive. Another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries.
Good morning, guys. Trust you're all doing well. Thank you very much for tuning into the Leadership Forum that is streaming live on Hope FM and also streaming on our various social media platforms at Hope FM Live on Facebook, YouTube, and also on Instagram, and also on Hope TV pages on Facebook and YouTube. My name is Peter Chalo.
And I'm Martin Onyango.
I am with Martin Onyango. Ochola, I shall be specific. And we're excited because in a very short time, we'll be joined by Pastor Wamboye Mboro, seasoned presenter, many years of experience, and she knows how to ask the right questions. And she'll be interviewing Bishop, and Bishop will be taking us through an amazing conversation about leadership. Now, before we even go further, we need to have a look at what happened last week, because Martin's life was transformed, and so was mine. So, Martin, please, let me know.
So, on last week's show, there's 5 things that caught my eye.
Yes.
And the 5 things are the 5 F's of innovation.
Yeah.
And for organizations that will maintain in terms of sustainability in the market.
Yes.
And the 5 F's were the things that will keep them going as an organization. And I think, should I mention the 5 F's?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Now, Bishop talked about 5 F's that will keep us innovative.
Yeah.
Now, number 1 is fast. An organization that is fast in terms of adopting things really, really fast, adopting ideas fast, and moving very fast into new spaces or new opportunities, knowing when to move and moving into it fast. Number 2 is flexible. You know, one of the examples that Bishop used last week was a flexible person is not the one who sells mandazi and says, we sell only this size of mandazi.
Yes.
And if you want another one, a different size, you cannot get. That is not a flexible person. That's a rigid person in the market. Now, the flexible one is the one that listens to the customer. The customer says, yeah, I know you sell this size of mandazi, you make this mandazi size, but then I have guests and I would love for you to make for me a mandazi this other size, so that my guests are satisfied.
Absolutely.
That is flexibility. Number 3 was friendly.
Yes.
Now, an organization or a person who is friendly, actually organizations can have a face, and the face of the organization is usually the first person you meet in the organization. Now, the friendly aspect of the organization or the person you meet up front from the organization will determine how your clientele sees and looks at you.
Yes.
Right? And without that front, then there is nothing to look forward to.
And coincidentally, I happened to go to a Chinese restaurant this weekend.
Yeah.
And the lady who the owner of the restaurant came and saw us and was like, "Hi, how are you doing? Is it the first time I'm seeing you?" "Not really. Good to see you." And then she gave us pens, a flashlight, a key holder, a small purse, and sweets and trinkets. And I was like, what a coincidence. This is probably the restaurant that Bishop was talking about.
Was it in Lavington?
I will not say, but I suspect it's that because I must have been in the spirit.
So,
I must have been in
you
the spirit.
must have been in the spirit.
Absolutely. Because I saw friendliness in practice. I saw it in action, and it was really moving. And we were also given free ice cream for dessert. Just free ice cream. Absolutely.
I need to go there.
It must be that restaurant.
It must be the restaurant.
I'm sure.
Bishop will confirm.
Yes.
All right. Then number 4 was focused.
Focused.
Yeah, an organization that is focused on its goal, not one that keeps changing whatever products in terms of its offering. You know, there are shops. He gave the example of a shop.
Yeah.
A typical shop in Kenya or Nairobi would be selling M-Pesa and doing airtime and doing hair products and doing. Now that Bishop said categorically that is not focus. It introduces an element of confusion for the shopkeeper.
Absolutely.
And therefore the shopkeeper is not able to advance into what they are called to do as an organization or as a business. Therefore, there is no focus in that. Focus is, this is what we do, this is what we are known for, and this is how we shall keep to what we are known for, maintaining standards.
Maintaining standards.
Yes.
Now, before you move to the, you haven't spoken about fun yet.
Not yet. I was keeping that to that for last.
Now, before we talk about that, I just want to let you know that Bishop is on standby, and so is Pastor Wamboi. And they are getting ready. As a matter of fact, they're just stretching a bit, testing their voice, just make sure everything is good. So when they come in, you will just be amazed by the amazing insights on leadership. So don't even move anywhere. Just keep online, keep engaging with us. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll let you know about that. So in a very short while, we'll be coming in with Bishop and Pastor Wamboi Mboru. Now, talk about fun.
I kept this one for last. If I remember well, Bishop mentioned people are going through a lot of difficulties in life.
Yes.
And one of the reasons that this last one caught my heart is because I guess sometimes people think I'm funny, or some people think I am fun to hang around. I don't know.
You are. I usually call you the MCA of Valley Road because you always say hi to everybody within the campus.
So the last F is fun. F-U-N.
Yes.
An organization that thinks about its people and thinks about their well-being. Mental well-being is something that is right now a problem in society worldwide, actually.
And even Bishop mentioned that's why the comedy industry, the fun industry has really boomed.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And so having things that are out of the conventional way of doing things really, I mean, if you go to work, your work is already too serious.
Yeah.
You go back home and family is already is quite serious, right? Everything about life is serious. So looking for a diversion from what we term as serious and getting into now. I would love to give this example, but I will not mention the organization. For example, the customer care for one of the big telcos in Kenya, they used to be that serious, corporate kind of responses to queries and stuff. Then eventually, today, if you ask them or engage them in a certain way, if you used Sheng, for example, to ask to query for whatever customer query you may have,
yes,
they will answer in Sheng. And if you are, for example, say if you are joking about it, they will joke back at you. And I find that being fun, and my query will have been answered, right? So that aspect of fun needs to be embraced by organizations to keep them keeping their clientele, without which there is no customers.
Interestingly, a global statistic concerning consumer consumption of content across the world presently, they say that the first thing that is being consumed is news information, especially around COVID-19 and the pandemic and what is happening across the world. But the second piece of content that is consumed after information is humor. Humor is the second biggest consumed content.
People are looking for a good laugh.
People are looking for a good laugh. Life is too serious. They want to laugh a bit. And it's interesting because that is really timely and relevant, whatever Bishop shared. And I think that it's something that we're now looking forward to see how Father will extrapolate today.
Yeah.
And I'm just reminded about some amazing quotes that Bishop mentioned just before we go on air in 2 minutes. He said an effective innovation must add value. If you're going to change from what you're doing into a new way of doing things, the question you must ask is, does it add value to what you're about? So you just don't change things for the sake of changing things. It must add value. And he also mentioned that innovation must increase effectiveness or impact. Another amazing quote is, innovation must facilitate efficiency. A new method must make work easier. And finally, he said, innovation must promote excellence so that the quality of your products and services are enhanced. And we even made picture quotes about that. That's how good we are.
Yeah, that's how good we are. And I would dare mention, we sort of have become students of leadership under Bishop, sort of.
Absolutely. And what we're challenging you to do is, if you remember what we discussed last week, tell us how that impacted your life and how you're incorporating that in your organization and also in your personal life, because we'll love to engage with you. Remember, we are on Hope FM Live, on our Facebook page, Twitter page, on Facebook, on Twitter. The conversation is happening on the hashtag Hope Leadership Forum. And we are also on YouTube and on Instagram, and also on Hope TV Kenya pages on Facebook and YouTube. And we are also live on Hope FM. And shortly, we are coming in with the Presiding Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries, Reverend Dr. David Oginde.
Yes.
And Pastor Wamboimboro, psychologist, seasoned presenter,
seasoned counselor,
seasoned everything. Shortly. So just keep it locked. We're trying to get our technical manager to set us up right now. So let's keep it here. Don't go away. We're right here.
Would it be right to say don't touch the dial?
Don't touch the button. Don't click anything. So Theo, let's get it up. Let's move. Let's move. All right. You can come over, Theo. So right now, if I'm speaking, they can't hear me. No. All right. Good. Sorry. HopeMediaKenya.org. My name is Peter Chalo, and I'm in studio with Mr. Martin Ochola. And we were just online a few minutes ago letting you know that we are about to start the Leadership Forum today. And we have our seasoned presenter, of course, Pastor Wamboimboro on the other side, ready to go. And also the Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries, Reverend Dr. David Oginde. So this is the Leadership Forum. Remember, we are also streaming live on Facebook, on our handle at Hope FM Live, also on YouTube at Hope FM Live, and on Instagram at Hope FM Live. And you can also find the conversation on our Hope TV Kenya pages on Facebook and also on YouTube. Follow the conversation on Twitter on the hashtag Hope Leadership Forum. Thank you very much for keeping us company. And right away, we hand you over to Madam Wamboimboro, who's ready to take it away. So keep it locked right here on the station where you listen and live Hope FM. Wamboy, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm doing well. How are you, Peter?
I'm fine, thank you. You look lovely and full of energy today.
I am eager. I'm eager to learn more from Bishop on leadership matters. And that was a very interesting discussion you and Martin had.
Thank you very much. And we will not even eat into your time. We'll just have you take it away right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
I'm
ready.
Thank you.
Yes, so we welcome you to the Leadership Forum. We do this every Monday. But from last Monday, what is different is that we are now also live on Instagram, on the Hope FM, Facebook. That is what is new. So for the second time here, we are, and I just want to take this time to acknowledge and thank those of you that have already tuned in. You remembered you could tune in this way on Facebook. Jacob Malowa, thank you. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Obonyo, John, Muna, thank you. And we have Pamela and so many others of you who are able to join us today. We will be looking at leadership matters together, and you can use the same space to ask your questions, to make your comments, as well as the SMS line 20933. We will also be getting your response from that SMS line 20933. So my name is Wambo Imburo, and as always, just grateful to God for such a time as this that we can be together, we can interact, we can learn together. Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries with us, and I believe that Bishop can now just join us so that we take it up from where we left it last time. How are you, Bishop?
Good, thank you. Doing very well.
I'm happy to see you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good to see you too.
You were able to listen to those youngsters, Chalo and Peter and Martin.
Yes, they did very well. I was marking their exam.
I hoped you had marked, because they themselves they told each other that they are doing well. They are getting good at this. What do you think? What's their mark?
I think I'll give them 79.
Where did they lose some of the marks? They think they are doing pretty well.
They did very well. They did very well. Yeah.
At what point did you feel they lost a mark or two?
I think they caught the points very well, but yes. The application, some of the applications were could have been better.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I will not try to get mine marked. I will just take us straight and ask you, Bishop, whether before we pick it up from where we left it last time, whether you have something you would want to share with us from your heart, especially as a nation or as the body of Christ. Last time you talked to us about this very great conviction that had come on you that God is resetting his world, and you felt, let's not interfere with what God is doing. Let's just be still and know that he is God. And I had quite a number of people call me later and tell me they are witnesses. They felt a witness in their spirit that is indeed what God is saying to his people. I wonder today whether it's to us as the body of Christ or to us as a nation. Is there something in your heart before we take matters leadership?
Nothing special that I would say for today, just making observations. Of course, we are very concerned about the stalemate that there is in the Senate. 7 meetings away, they have not been able to resolve that issue. And it's not a very good showing. The other issue that is, for me, is very painful is the allegations, let me call it so, that the COVID-19 monies are being squandered by individuals. That for me was very, very painful because it's like taking stealing somebody who is really sick and stealing their medicine. Basically, you are saying they can die. It's very sad. Sometime back, I wrote an article and I was saying that time people were just fearing that the monies may be stolen. As the monies were being raised and put together, the fund was put together, people were fearing that, will this money really reach the people? And I said, the picture that came to mind is of these people who, when there's an accident on the road, you find that they run to the accident scene, but it's not to go and help the people who are injured, but to steal from them. And it is a callous thing, it's an inhuman thing to go and steal from a people who are just been involved in a tragic accident. And I think that is the kind of thing that we are seeing, in my view, when we hear that the monies that have been put together to help us with this pandemic have been stolen. Those are people who are heartless. Those are people who have their conscience is really dead. For you to steal money that is meant for helping us get out of a pandemic like the one we are in is to be heartless. And I'm reminded of Elisha's servant, Gehazi.
Gehazi.
Was his
Gehazi.
name.
Yes.
You know, he after Elisha healed Naaman of his leprosy, and Naaman wanted to pay him, and Elisha said, "No, you're not going to pay me. God is not paid. You just go your way." And Gehazi felt, what a loss. I mean, this was a great opportunity to make money.
Yes.
And so he ran back to Elisha, rather to Naaman, and followed him and said, "Oh, my master has said, no, he has changed his mind. If you could just give us something." And of course, he was given all that Naaman wanted to give. When Elisha learned of it, he said, "The leprosy of Naaman is now upon you." And Naaman, Gehazi, actually got that leprosy until he died. And when I hear of people stealing money that is meant to help people in this pandemic, that is the picture that comes to mind. Because God, who is in heaven, who is watching this, cannot let you go free when you actually steal from the sick, when you steal from the dying. It is a wicked thing, and I don't think it will go well with those people if it is true. That's why I call it an allegation, because it's not yet proven. But if it is true, I don't think it will go well with those people. God in heaven cannot be happy with such a kind of a person who is stealing from the dead. So those are the things that have been really have touched my heart this past week. What is happening in the Senate, and then this whole thing of COVID is a terrible thing.
What goes wrong in the heart of a human being, Bishop, for them to do what you just described as stealing from the dead? What goes so wrong?
Of course, our human evil nature, sinful nature, is given to evil. And so greed is one of them. And John writes in First John and says that if you love the world and the things of this world, the love of the Father cannot be in you. And he goes ahead to say what that love for the world is: the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. And these are the things that drive us to do those kinds of things. The lust of the flesh, passions, things that we just desire. Sometimes people just want to feel good that I have money. Sometimes you don't even know what
it's in the pocket.
It is in the pocket, the account. My account has 100 million. You ask yourself, because I have said here before, I calculated one time that how much 1 billion is. That if you spend 100,000 per day without fail, every day you spend 100,000, it will take you 30 years to finish 1 billion.
One. Okay.
Just one. And people are stealing 5 of them, people are stealing 10 of them. So you ask yourself, what does one want to do with so much money? It is those passions, the lust of the flesh, just to feel good that I have this money. Then the last of the eyes, you want things and more things. You know, you hear a person wants 10,000 acres of land. What do you want to do with 10,000 acres of land? You want 10 skyscrapers, you want cars and houses and what? It is just this craving of the flesh. It is this desire of the eyes for people just to see and say, wow, that is enough for you, you know. That if I come to your house and I say, wow, what a house, that fulfills something in you. And that's why people steal. I mean, that's why people steal. Then there's the whole thing of the pride of life, which is connected. You want to be somebody. You want, when you pass around, people know that, yeah, Oginde is passing by, you know. And these things drive us to do crazy things. They drive us to do crazy things. I read another very sad story, Wambo, you may have seen it, of this lady who was a very intelligent young woman when she was in school, went ahead to get a very good job in government. I was actually a secretary undersecretary in one of the ministries, an elder in the church and the Presbyterian church, and has now turned to crime.
Wow.
I just thought,
no, I did not see that. Or
you did not see that?
How long ago?
This is this week, this past week.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
In fact, it was in the story was yesterday's newspaper, and
I'll look out for it.
The story of this lady. She had a string of cases of theft. She just came out of prison, 15 years for stealing and so on. And now, immediately she came out, they robbed together with 3 other people. They robbed a lorry from a person, went and sold it in Tanzania, and now she's back in prison for 35 years. You know, she was sentenced this last week for 35 years. And I said, now that the children, she's supposed to be a born-again Christian. You know, she was an elder in the PCA church, Women's Guild, you know, leader of the Women's Guild. So the children who are grown-ups are saying, we don't know what happened to our mother. We have talked to her. And every time we talk to her, she says it is the devil, you know?
Oh dear.
Actually, that one, I was thinking about it through the night. I think it just got so much into my spirit, and I said, what actually goes on in the mind of a person to do those kinds of things? And this one, I concluded it must be demonic, because a person was a very clever girl, Pangani girls, as we are told. She did very well. Went to the university, got a bachelor's in education. So this is not a person who is struggling with life. Was an undersecretary, you know, in the ministry. And then I just thought, this is the devil. This is the devil.
You agree with her? This has to be the devil.
I agree with her in the sense of what she's doing, but I don't agree with her because she was just trying, like, excusing herself. According to her children, her daughter says, we think our mom was just excusing herself and blaming the devil. Because apparently, you can see they are very sensible, because they would have wanted to protect their mother and create stories, but they were not creating. They were just saying, we don't know what happened to our mother, you know? And we have tried to talk to her, and every time we talk to her, she says, it is the devil. So, some of these things are actually the devil, for sure. For when you are given a task to take care of government public resources, and then you know this is money that is supposed to help people in their sickness, a disease that could clear our nation, and then you go ahead and steal that money, appropriate it for yourself. I know it is the devil, but you have to come up and do something about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
truly, truly. And
Yeah.
admit you're a sinner. We can begin that. We can begin there.
Yes. Admit you're a sinner, and God will deliver you from it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, Bishop, thank you for your observations about the stalemate. So you, in a sense, what you've done is lament. I join you in lamenting. Do you think there can be a way forward, having lamented, and it is good to do that? If you were to advise our leaders in the political scene, how would you advise them so that we move forward?
Of course, as I said before, the matter at hand is purely political. And political things are very difficult to resolve. So it is not like they don't know what to do or they don't know what is right to do. But when two political positions, opposing positions, are taken and no one is willing to give in, then it becomes very difficult to resolve that issue, because now it requires a political resolution. You remember when we are talking about decision making?
Yes, I do.
We talked about the rational. I think they have passed the rational. The rational is there, and if they were willing to take a rational decision, by now it would have been resolved. But when a decision making is brought at the political level, the rational thinking then disappears. It goes out of the window, because even things that make sense, people don't want to follow. They look at things very differently. So it becomes very difficult to help people who are stuck in a political stalemate. It becomes very difficult. So my thinking is that they should really reconsider and just go back to a rational position. Mm-hmm. What is the most practical way of solving this problem? Politically, I may lose, or we may not gain as much, but this is the best way to go about it. That is how statesmen are made, people who are willing to make sacrifices for the sake of the people that they lead. Those are how great leaders are made, that they're willing to make sacrifices. But when people have taken a very strong political position, then it becomes very difficult, because rationality doesn't apply. So if you just go in and say, this makes sense, why don't we do A, B, C, D? I say, no, but I'm looking at how will it benefit me politically? Because, elections are coming in just a short while. Mm-hmm. And so the politicians are looking at how will this advance my cause?
How will it give me mileage?
Mileage, yes. Mm-hmm. So then rationality, because some of the proposals that have been made are quite what can I say, practical. If you look at them, they're quite practical. Like the Sakaja proposal, in my view, seems to make sense in the circumstances, but people are stuck.
Thank you, Bishop. Can I start us off into our session today, the session that has to do with leaders and followers, with asking you this question from Vicky, who wants to ask, is it correct to say that everyone is a leader in one way or another? Is that correct? And again, Vicky asks, how should Christian youth conduct themselves during courtship? And what duration should they take? Perhaps we will leave that last part about courtship and durations. We can leave that for a different, maybe like tomorrow, you can send your question to Grace Muchiso and Pastor Juliet. They can handle that. But Bishop, the first one, is that correct? to say
It is
that
true.
everyone is a leader.
Everyone is a leader at one point or another.
So everyone needs to listen to this.
Because
yes.
It starts from the very, even children who are playing. You know, the Bible says, can two walk together unless they are agreed? That agreement brings in the element of leadership. So if two children or three children are playing out in the compound and they want to organize themselves around a game, one of them has to take leadership and help give instructions, who is going to do what and who is going to do what. There is a leadership role right there. They have no leadership position, but for them to be able to play successfully, there has to be leadership. So even little children, maybe age 3, age 4, you know, they are playing out there. They need a leader from among them. So any place, I say, wherever 2 or 3 people are gathered, there must be leadership in their midst, because 2 people cannot work together unless they are agreed.
They agree.
So if there are 2 of us agree, let's walk to town, or let's do this, or let's do the other, one person must take leadership in that,
Okay.
among the 2. So every one of us is a leader at one point or another.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Bishop. Where do you want to take us today after, and I think our young men, Peter and Martin, did a great job of doing the recap of what we discussed last time, whether it's the parameters for an effective innovation. Then we said how it looks like. We talked about it must add value. We talked about it must increase effectiveness. It must increase efficiency. It must promote excellence, and it must reduce cost. And then, of course, the five that really became sort of the highlight, the 5 points about the leader for today and tomorrow. And the crew in the studio have just done that so very well. Where do you want us to go next, Bishop? We are all set, and people are streaming in and saying, "I'm set to learn."
I was amused to hear that. Is it Peter or one of them went to the restaurant?
It is Peter. And Martin thinks it's the same restaurant you talked about, given the gift he was given.
And how he just landed there and he got free ice cream, because all that he described is part of that restaurant. So very friendly environment, and the lady is making a lot of good business.
While at it, while at the 5 F's of friendship.
Yes.
Okay.
Friendship, fun, and all that, you know.
Yes.
So it's those are some of the things that really make businesses to be successful. If you want your business to be successful, the only place where you can remain successful without having those 5 is a monopoly. You know, if you're in a monopoly, people will come to you because they have to. You know, they have no other choice. So you may not be fun, you may not be friendly, but because you have what they want, they come anyway. But be sure that the day that a competitor enters the market, you are done for, especially if they apply the 5 F's. So it is Larry Wilson who has said that without innovation and creativity, we can easily practicing our present skills and become best players in a game that no one is longer playing. So innovation is what keeps you current. Otherwise, you could find yourself playing a game that people are no longer playing, you know. And Larry Wilson says, if you are not innovative, you become, if you are playing a game that people are no longer playing, it means you are irrelevant. you are irrelevant, you are out of the league, you are playing for yourself, you are singing to yourself. The audience long moved. And I compare this with if you are in this big concert theaters. You know, the limelight is focused on you. You can't see the congregation because all the lights on the congregation, on the audience are dimmed and they are not there. So you see them. So they could easily go away and you could be singing to yourself. You could be talking to yourself. And because you're in the limelight, you think everything is fine. So Larry Wilson therefore says that without innovation and creativity, we could find ourselves continuing to practice our present skills and become best players in a game that is no longer being played. So what we must therefore do is to move into the realm of innovation. Innovation, therefore, is generating great ideas that will help you to overcome and to be ahead of the competition. And you need individuals who can invent, people who can find new ways of doing things, who can be purposeful about doing things differently to help you to move to the next level. Otherwise, you get stuck and you find yourself being either overtaken by your competitors or dying in the field in which you find yourself. One of the ways of being innovative is to benchmark. I know in Kenya, or benchmarking has been abused, especially after the new constitution brought in the MCAs and the new parliament and new government and governors and so on. The number of trips that were made to go and benchmark, it just made that word such a bad word. But benchmarking is one of the ways to become innovative. In my language, we say that if you don't travel, if you don't travel around, you will think your mother is the best cook because that is all the food that you know. But you need to move around and visit places and visit people. Visit your competitors, sometimes either publicly or secretly, not secretly, but without announcing that you are here to benchmark. Visit and see how things are done and get to learn from other people. And borrow ideas that can apply to your own situation. That is part of innovation, so that your mind is opened up. We call it a learning attitude that we talked about a little earlier. So you have this learning attitude that is open to learning new ideas. And one of the ways is certainly that you visit other people and learn from their experiences, talk with them, and find out how they are doing things. In fact, one Wilken says, puts it as SIS when you're benchmarking, steal ideas shamelessly, SIS. Now, of course, this stealing here is not the kind that will lead you to hell, but the idea that you can, you are not afraid to learn from others. You know, some of us are so proud that we do not want to learn from others. And so we keep doing the things that we are doing when actually you could learn a very new idea from somebody else that is just in your neighborhood, or somebody else that is doing a similar thing. Go and ask them, how are you doing this? And how is this working out for you? That is one of the ways of benchmarking. You go and learn from what other people are doing. And so today I want to wrap up that section of innovation and get into some strategies. I want to share with us some strategies for innovation. How different people approach innovation. Let me not even call them strategies. Let me call them approaches to innovation. The different people take different approaches to this whole idea of learning new ideas, doing things differently, or staying ahead in the marketplace. And depending on which approach you take, it could either speed up your growth or be stagnated. So one of the approaches to innovation is called the defender strategy. The defender strategy is a strategy that is focused on systems and structures that guard the things that you have been doing. Your service, therefore, is focused on a narrow, stable market. There are people who have made a decision that this is my area. Remember, we talked about focused. Now they have taken that word focused to another level so that they are so focused that they will not move from what they are doing. Is defender, the reason it's called defender is because you want to guard your space, you want to guard your territory, you want to guard your product, your services, your way of doing things, so that people don't encroach in it. You remain the only one with that kind of a way of doing things. This, for example, is where patenting comes. It's said, for example, that Coca-Cola has this secret patent to their flavor that no one knows, and they never give it to anybody. It is a secret that even the workers in that field do not know, because they do not want anybody else to produce another Coca-Cola. People have tried, but it just doesn't taste the same, because there seems to be something about the way they mix their chemicals, their ingredients, such that it gives you that unique Coke flavor. So they use a defender strategy. You don't share your ideas, you don't make them public, you keep that space to yourself, and therefore you are focused on that narrow space to make sure that your competition doesn't get into that space. So your primary source of success, therefore, is that you remain the leader in your market, you remain the only supplier, as it were, of that particular product or service, and nobody else, even those who imitate, cannot get into that. I would say that that is the same approach initially that Apple used. You would know that when Apple started their products, the Macintosh and other products like the iPhone, the iPod, and all those, they used a defender strategy so that all Apple products were not compatible with any other products in the market. The Apple computers were not compatible with any other computers. If you buy an Apple product, you have to use Apple products all through. Now, eventually it worked against them because interchangeability and interconnectivity became the game, the rule of the game. So when you are so exclusive, then you could be driven out of the market. So eventually Apple had to open, for example, even the softwares like the Microsoft softwares like Word and Excel and so on could not work on Apple computers previously. But they had to get to that place where they had to open that so that these products could work there. Some of you who have used Apple products, you know that even such a small thing as a charger. You cannot just buy a charger on the street and use it to charge your iPhone. It will not work, because they use the defender strategy to stay in the market. It is an innovative way of doing things, but it has its own challenges when you are in a very fluid market where people want flexibility, because it works against that other F of flexibility. So you have the forecast, but you have no flexibility. So that is how other products like Samsung and Microsoft have eaten into the space that was previously held by Apple, because they came into that same space offering similar products, perhaps not as high level as the Apple product, but because of the flexibility, interchangeability of these products with other softwares and other things, made them to be more accessible to more people and to be more liked by other people. And so the defender strategy is a good strategy, but it can get you into a place where you can be driven out of the market. One of the things that the defender strategy uses is streamlining your administrative system so that you are efficient, you are focused. They tend to use very centralized structures and systems. Everything is very carefully controlled. Products are very carefully controlled. That is usually the defender strategy. So you find that things are done in a specialist way. And this makes it, therefore, very difficult for any other person to intrude into that space. So the defender strategy is a strategy that can help you in a market where you want to segment your market. So what, for example, if I go back to Apple, did is that they segmented their market. So Apple is reaching a market that is high-end. Their products are highly priced. They are for high-end people. They have made them like a status symbol, so that if you have this particular product, you are known to be a person of a high class, And that's why people, when they are going, again, still using the Apple products, when they are releasing a new phone or a new computer, people actually go out and queue to buy this, be the first to own this new phone in the market. Why do they do that? Because it is a symbol, a status symbol, not because the phone is going to add any greater value to them, but because it has become a status symbol. And that is how Apple positioned themselves in the market. They positioned themselves as an exclusive club, as it were, to the people that want that level of recognition. So defender strategy is a strategy that does work, and you could choose that is what you are going to do. You are an exclusive club of a certain individuals, and you focus in that particular area, and you keep what can I do? Fine-tuning and refining your processes to produce very high quality products or very high quality services. So if you decide to go that route, then what you need to work on is your systems, your structures, your efficiencies, your effectiveness, the quality of products that you are known for this. I remember in the good old days, Total petrol station, for example, they used to have this slogan, "Total by choice." Before the regulation of prices, they used to be among the most expensive in the market. But they said, the people who come to Total petrol station don't come because we are cheap. They come because they know we offer quality. And so you come to Total by choice. you don't come to total by accident. That was a defender strategy, putting your product in such a way that the people who come to you because they believe in what you are doing, the product that you are offering, and you keep refining that product in such a way that you are always ahead of the competition. That is called a defender strategy. So Wamboi, maybe you want to ask a question or something.
First of all, it's a very interesting strategy. The defender strategy, it just sounds very interesting. And I was thinking of asking you what the balance is at around the time that you were saying it can also stifle flexibility. And then yes. Is that maybe what you preempted when you started talking about segmenting? Is segmenting the balancing act then?
No, the balance in this is that a defender strategy, sometimes you are too focused that the competition could come and undercut you. So the balance is that whereas you have this very good product or very good service offering, you must at the same time see what is happening in the market and be able to adapt to what is what the market is doing, still within your own parameters. So the balance, the key word there is some level of flexibility. Okay. Because people who are totally go totally defend a strategy sometimes are driven out of the market. And I just gave the example of the Apple products. They basically took that as their approach. They identified their market, they identified the people that they are going to serve, and therefore their products were made such that they were not compatible with any other product. You could not use any other software other than the Apple software in an Apple computer, and yes. But with time, they found that the other people who had taken the flexible and compatibility approach were eating into their market. So they had to also make some little adjustment so that, yes, they are still in the defender zone, but they are now allowing other products to also share. So the key word there is flexibility, for if you want to balance so that you stay. So they're still
flexibility.
Apple by and large is still a defender company. That is an exclusive club, if I call it that. But they have learned
exclusivity.
That we need with that exclusive, we need to moderate it with some level of flexibility.
All right. I think I'll give you a short break, Bishop, before we come back and listen to some comments, as well as take the next strategy perhaps that you have. So we are at Hope FM Live. You are able to get us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, the handle at Hope FM Live. And we are also available with the SMS line 20933. That's 20933. And at this point, we will get back to the studio and have Peter Chalo talk to us just a little bit, tell us what is happening, and then we will come back with the Bishop, just taking a short break, and we'll be back.
Thank you so much, Wamboi. We appreciate the amazing conversation that we have enjoyed in the previous hour. It is really filled with a lot of insights, and we just want to remind you that we are live on Hope FM Facebook page at Hope FM Live is our handle, and also on YouTube at Hope FM Live. And we are also live on Hope TV Kenya pages on Facebook and YouTube, and also on Instagram, Hope FM at Hope FM Live. You can also engage with us on the conversation on Twitter on the hashtag Hope Leadership Forum, and also on our SMS line 20933 in studio. Now it's time for us to go through your comments and find out what have guys been saying. And I am joined with the very able Uncle Martin, who's right here next to me. I like the African attire, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's innovation
At
at its best.
its best. All right, cool. That's okay. So we will try and have a look at some of the comments that have been coming in. Now we have a lot of guys commenting on Facebook. I think we can start with Facebook.
We're gonna start with Facebook.
Yeah, so I have all the pages up and running. So now we can look at the Hope FM page.
Yeah, that's a lot of comments.
Yeah, so let me know who is talking to us. Huh?
Yeah,
You can start it from the top.
Okay, let's get to the top.
Yeah, just a quick skim through the comments.
All right, SC Timbiri says Utawala well represented. Of course, most of these guys are just saying they're tuned in from at the point that we started.
Yeah.
Hello's tuning in from Kitengela. That is Milim So, Sam Akwale.
Some guys are having a chat, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Joski Shams, Gordon, Juma,
Mhm.
ZP Wakarega.
Yeah.
Nice to see Wambo Imboru finally. I think this is her first time seeing Wambo Imboru.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That is Victor Osoro and Jemo.
Yeah.
I'm also in need of something. No? Oh yeah. Oh okay. I see what they need.
Mhm.
Then there is Betty Mulongo.
Betty Mulongo.
Yes, she's tuned in. Victor Osoro again.
Yeah.
I think they're just having a chat. Now, somebody just commenting on what Bishop was talking about in terms of the funds embezzlement on the COVID funds.
Yeah.
It says, true, Bishop, the squandering of COVID-19 funds is a demonstration of the rottenness of our moral fabric. God will definitely send a severe judgment. That is Kamau Mburu. Thank you very much, Kamau, for that comment.
Yes.
Listening from Siaya, that is Charlton Mashuk.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Then, of course, most of these other guys are also saying just tuned in. That is Charlton Mashik, Marutit Kemboi, Eunice Jaoko.
Yeah.
Just saying tuned in and just agreeing also with Mr. Kamau on the COVID issue, COVID fund issue. Just going all the way down. Somebody shared with us. Actually, that is Sam Akwale shared with us the story.
Yeah.
The new story of the granny who got jailed for 35 years. I think it was.
But it's a very sad story.
It's a very sad story. Some people may think about it as a funny story.
Yeah.
When you go into the movie industry and you see a granny robbing, it looks like fiction, right?
Yeah.
But when now eventually it happens in your country and it's true, it's a very sad reality, and all our prayers go out to the family, in terms of just helping them support their mother in that regard. Nyanga Carl Frida, how I wish young people would listen to your wise and counsel, Bishop. There is honest wealth out there. Stealing and fraud will only cause more pain in the end. Yeah, this is very good response that we are getting. Actually, I hope Bishop is also taking note of these very interesting comments. But it's interesting. Most of these guys also still speaking about the COVID funding issue. And somebody's asking. I think this one we will keep as one of the questions that we could throw back.
Yeah.
What's the church's leadership role in the current stalemate? Which I think Bishop did answer.
Yeah.
In one of his responses, maybe not there directly to Mr. Kamamburu, but yeah, Bishop somehow answered it in his closing remarks.
All right.
Yeah.
So we can have a look at some of the guys on TV. If we haven't read your comment, because the comments are so many, and we appreciate your contribution and your participation. Wherever you're listening from, if you're listening from home or at work, thank you very much for joining us. And we'll be coming in shortly with Bishop and Wamboy for the second session. And remember, we were just starting, we're just scratching the surface. And so there's quite a lot that you will profit from in the conversation that is coming up shortly. So on TV, you can read maybe 1 or 2 comments.
1 or 2 comments.
Yeah.
That is Munanye or Muna. We can just call her Muna.
Yeah.
Muna says, "Wololo, play a song. It's a moment of silence," as you set up. So
we just wanted to,
your technical issues. Lois Foro says tuned in. Mumbi Rushu.
Quite a lot of guys are saying that they've tuned in.
Yeah, there's somebody who was saying very resourceful greetings from Dar es Salaam,
Tanzania.
Yeah, Tanzania. Greatly delighted to tune in live. Wako party.
Party Tanzania.
Yes.
Skiza.
Achieng Otieno, always informative and educative. Yes. Wow, I like it, Bishop. The allegation is really painful. May it not be true. Just commenting on the same issue that we essentially covered. Yeah.
All right. I think those are very good comments coming in, and we want to again appreciate you for your engagement. Now, listen. We just started off on the fast point for today when we were moving to the strategies of innovation or approaches to innovation, as Bishop touched on it. And Wambo Mboro is on standby with Bishop, and they'll be coming in very shortly to continue with the conversation that is going to profit you in an amazing way. Now, before we just have them coming in, Martin.
Yes.
Why don't you tell me what you picked from the very fast point of what Bishop shared in regards to the approaches to innovation, and I know he touched on the defender strategy.
Yes, the defender strategy.
Yes.
From what I picked, there's an interesting again statement that Bishop said just before he started mentioning about the defender strategy, and he said the only way a business can survive without the fives, you remember the five F's that we had?
Yes.
It is if they are a monopoly. So I think in my mind, I was just thinking in terms of the defender strategy. Unless you are a monopoly as a defender strategist,
yes, then
the only way of your survival is maintaining your product and keeping it top secret. The example.
Absolutely. And you remember the quote he mentioned by Larry Wilson, that without innovation and creativity, we can find ourselves playing a game that people are no longer playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And most of these defender strategists find themselves in that area.
All right. Now, moving into the defender strategy.
Yes.
Well, first of all, he said one of the ways that we become innovative is through benchmarking. And remember the quote he made from his own community: if you don't travel around, you will think your mother is the best cook. Yeah, so it's important to travel around and have a view of the world and just get to learn a few things. Now, on the defender strategy, Bishop mentioned that this is a strategy that is focused on a narrow, stable market. So you're guarding your space, you're guarding your products and services, and your way of doing things. And he cited some examples with Coca-Cola and also Apple products. So you are safeguarding your innovation, you're safeguarding your product, your way of doing things. And it has worked to an advantage in some cases. And in some cases, it has also been a threat.
Yes.
So tell me what you think about that. Now, seeing that you migrated from Apple products to other products, some of us are maintaining the status symbol.
Lest I am at threat of advertising a different brand. One of the things that caused me to move from the said product to a different platform was, as Bishop put it, number one is accessories.
Yes.
Unless you have their accessories, you cannot borrow accessories from anyone else unless they have that accessory. Now, the second thing, and this is very close to my heart, is customizability. On that platform, there is no customizability. And when Bishop was mentioning about interfacing with other systems, it is for me it was the hardest part of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so therefore I just decided, you know what, this is not working for me. maybe if I moved to a different platform where customizability is a thing, I'm big on customizability, and I'm big on interfacing between different platforms. And that for me it sort of doesn't work. So if you're, I think now it becomes a question of preference. If you're somebody who just gets the work done, then I mean, why not just get yourself one of those and get it done? But then the narrowness of, in my opinion, the narrowness of the system just makes me say, you know what, I'm not going to engage in this in this kind of system that does not allow me to be me.
Now, there are two ways to look at it, and actually that is based on one boy's question. She asked, what is the place of balance? Because now the thing is also, when you're so compatible, you might lose your focus and you might lose your quality and your uniqueness. When you're just a person or a brand or product that is engaging with everybody, then I think a bit of that status symbol is affected. And I think also the balance is, if you are focused and if you want to maintain a bit of that closed system, you must really have a very good product that would make somebody be willing to fit into that kind of ecosystem. Fit in there. Like the way we fitted in Jesus's ecosystem. So we're not interacting with the world. Okay, that's just on a light note.
On a light note.
But nonetheless, it is important. And so that is the conversation that was happening in the previous hour. And shortly, we are joined by Wambui Mboro, who is coming in to share with us more on the same, as she engages the Bishop of Christ the Answer Ministries, Reverend Dr. David Oginde. And we trust that you will be blessed greatly in the next session of the Leadership Forum. So keep it locked, don't move away. And right now, we're just about to go on air live on radio, and keep it here. Thank you very much for your company. All right. Thank you very much for keeping us company on Hope FM, the station where you listen and live. This is the Leadership Forum, and I am with Mr. Martin in studio. And we are the guys who are holding fort on this end, as Bishop and Wambui are social distancing, but keeping the conversation close. And we have really been blessed. We want to remind you that we are live on Hope FM Facebook page and YouTube at Hope FM Live is our Twitter handle, and also on Instagram, and also on Hope TV Kenya. That is on our TV platform on Facebook and YouTube. And also you can text us in on 20933. That is our SMS line. And also follow the conversation on Twitter on the hashtag Hope Leadership Forum. It is always a pleasure having you. And we don't want to waste much time, but get into the conversation and find out more concerning what Bishop has to say. And we want to hand you over to our very able Wambui Mboro. How are you doing, Wambui?
I'm doing great. I just thank you for giving us a short break, bouncing back, really. I think I would put it that way. And eager to get going with Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries, once again, taking us through matters to do with leaders and followers. We call this the Leadership Forum, and we do it every Monday. It's been alternating Mondays, but within this time, because we do need to keep this conversation at a time like this, when the globe is in a state of reset, as Bishop puts it, then we are here every Monday. That's from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. We call it the Leadership Forum. Peter has just given us all the handles and all the ways that we are able to listen to you. Then we have the SMS line, 20933. Is someone saying something there? Peter?
Yes, Wambui.
Any questions for us?
We usually have the guys who say, I am so happy to see Wambui finally. So, of course.
And I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What's the appropriate answer? I don't know.
Very nice compliments. So we thank them for that. But a lot of people are asking Bishop to comment on government policies in regard to the defender strategy. And that is a question that has been asked by Beth. And also, a number of people are asking, what is the role of the church in terms of innovation and how it can impact the society? So those are the two key questions that are coming in. One, it is concerning the government policies and with a defender strategy. And secondly, how does the church also innovatively make an impact in our society? Thank you very much. Wambui, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Great questions. Bishop, you want to take the first one? The role of the church and innovation and governance and policies?
Okay. Yes. I think we have talked about this before. Everything that we have discussed here is applicable to almost any setting of leadership, any kind of organization, whether it is government, church, family, and so on. So in church and religious communities in general tend to adopt the defender strategy. We tend to be very conservative. We tend to maintain what we know and guard that very jealously. And I think we talked about it some time back, actually, when we were starting this whole program, is that when church is not careful, and by church here now, I mean both the local church, the church at 3 levels. There's a local church, a congregation, there's a denomination, and then there's the body of Christ, universal, anybody called Christian. So at a local congregation level, if you adopt a defender strategy, you must then have a very good product offering. And I think Charlo and his Peter and Martin, they discussed this, that you have to have a very good product offering, almost a monopoly. So the gospel is the same. The Bible is the same. How we present that gospel, how we package that gospel can be very unique. And because of that uniqueness, then you can have a defender strategy. Late last year, or was it actually early this year? I think we have been confused by this Corona thing.
It feels like one big day.
Yes, it's like one big day. You don't know what you did last year and what you did this year. I think, so we were in this conference in, I think it was in the US. Again, I forget, but I think it was in the US. But we had a church from Singapore that had come because this is a meeting that brings together church leaders from across the world, just to share ideas of what they are doing. So this church from Singapore came to share with us on youth ministry. What is amazing about this church is that they have positioned themselves as a youth-only church.
Wow.
Yes, that's how they have positioned themselves. So their oldest person is like 21. In fact, they pride themselves. It's a teens church. They pride themselves. They have, their strategy is to make sure that their average age is 19. The average age. When they take their statistics of all who attend church and divide by the numbers and find what is the average age, their strategy is that their age average should be 19. So because of that, the way they have positioned themselves is that everything is done in a youth way. The presentation was so amazing. Their elders, their deacons, their leaders are all young people, age 15, 16, 19, 20, 21. The oldest is 27. Amazing. But they have.
The pastor, how old is the pastor? I'm just curious.
The pastor started at 21. Now I think he's 38 or thereabout. Okay. You know, but they are like the oldest in the in the church. But all the leaders are young people. It's amazing that church now, which started with about 500 young people, has now grown to over 20,000, and they are all young people. They showed us the building that they have put up in Singapore. It is out of this world. I mean, even the design of it, and it's just out of this world. You need to see it I can't describe it. It's like John going to heaven and trying to describe to us how heaven is like. You know,
Wow. Wow.
It's just amazing. And so their approach to ministry, which is a very innovative thing, is again a defender strategy, in that they do not want that space to be encroached by older people. So the people, we ask them, what do you do with the people who grow up into this? They say, well, since we started,
was in my mouth. Yes, I started with you. I was 18. Now I'm 29, for example. What do you do with me?
Yeah, 30 something. So they say for every one person who grows into their 30s or 20 something, they must bring at least 5 young people who are younger, you know, that will balance that average age. So if you have 30 or 40, then see how do you get your average age to 19? It's by bringing several younger people.
So then I don't go away.
You don't go away, but you're still here. But our average age then doesn't move. In fact, they said, I think 2 or 3 years ago, their average age moved to about 21, and they were very concerned. They had to sit down and think, how do we bring our average age down? So really, they have become like a monopoly in that field. And so they can use that kind of a strategy. But it requires a lot of creativity, a lot of innovation. And those people are just amazing. They're just amazing. They brought some young people to just give us their testimonies of how the church has touched their lives. And you can see people who are very excited, young people, very excited about God and about the Lord and how they do Bible study, how they do outreach and so on. In fact, we were just about to send our pastors there to benchmark because they have a benchmarking they have a benchmarking program where they allow churches to come in and see how they do things and so on. So we were just about to do that because that's an area that I must confess, as a church in Kenya, we are weak. So you could organize yourself that way, and this is something that you can do in any field. Like I said, governments, just like church, is also conservative. So our strategy in government is always defender, because one of the things that is so clear about the defender strategy is that you streamline structures, systems, policies, guidelines, and you do whatever you are doing, and you don't deviate, you don't go outside of that narrow field. And that's how government operates. So it is very difficult for governments to adopt to new ideas. Government systems tend to be the same old thing. Now, what has happened is that with globalization, because previously government had no competitors, you know, you are a Kenya government, you're a Kenya government, you do your thing, and there's no competition.
Of course.
Now, with globalization has brought competition within governments, within nations, so that if you do not adopt to new ways of doing things, if you don't offer new products and new ideas, you could be left behind, just like a company. So now governments are also coming up with innovation. You see what is happening between China and the US, because China was a very, because of their communist background, it is basically a dictatorship, if we use that word loosely. Their style is not a democracy. They're not a democracy. And so everything is centralized, everything is run from the top. The leader speaks and things are done. Now, that kind of a strategy doesn't lend itself to innovation. And so for a long time, the democratic countries, capitalistic countries like Europe and Western Europe and US were really the ones that were leading in terms of innovation, in terms of products and so on and business. Then China changed within their own system of this communism. They brought in innovation. And I think because of their numbers, they have been able to get into that innovation space, and their numbers give them good human capital that then is able to bring a cost of production so way down. And China has literally swept the world in terms of services and products. And so Europe and America are very unhappy.
Very unhappy.
So you can see, therefore, that competition has now come into government. So what has happened is that even governments now have to be innovative. Even governments have to be creative. You have to think, because take even East Africa. Kenya has been the leader in East Africa for a very long time. We are still the leader in terms of volumes of products, and because we were just ahead. But that space is being eaten very fast. A country like Rwanda that just came up the other day has gone way ahead. Ethiopia is coming. Unfortunately, because of the things that have been happening there recently, they may be slowed down. But Ethiopia has taken an innovative approach to running their country, and it is moving. In fact, as of last year, they were said to be among the top 5 fastest growing economies in the world.
So, not in Africa, in the world.
Not in Africa, in the world, you know.
Wow.
So what that tells you is that even as a government, as a country, you can't afford to just sit there and do nothing. No. You will be overrun. Your people will be without jobs. So you may find that everything that we are consuming in our country. I was reading a story yesterday of my part of the world in Kisumu. We were known for fish. Fish.
Fish.
My sister, fish. And it's going to lunchtime. You know?
What is the story about?
And I read a very, very sad story. There's this Chinese company that has set camp in Kisumu.
No.
It's called the East Africa Seafoods. I think that is what it's called. And they import fish from China to Kisumu.
That cannot be. You can't do that. Who does that?
That is what is happening. So what has happened is that in Kisumu, they have the biggest factory in Kisumu. So the probability that if you buy fish in Kisumu, you'll be buying a Chinese fish is very high. They are the ones who are supplying fish. They are doing filleting. They are doing all the things. So the revenue on fish that used to come to Kisumu has gone to China. It is fish made in China. You know.
Tell me, they are not fishing. They are not doing the fishing.
They are not fishing. No, they are bringing.
The fish from China.
Fish from China in containers. They are bringing fish from.
Why are the people in Kisumu buying that? What is different?
It's cheap.
Oh.
It's cheaper. It is cheaper to buy the Chinese fish than to go to the lake and bring fish. So the fishermen. Of course, this is frozen and so on. We can say many things about quality, but when you just want food, you just want food. Yeah, you just want fish. So what has happened is that the local fishermen cannot compete because the Chinese fish is cheaper than the local fish. So they have been literally driven out of business. And that is what is happening with globalization. So if the Lake Victoria people imagine that they had monopoly of fish supply, the Chinese have come in and taken that space. And you can replicate, yes.
Because especially that question had come in also asking about government policies. I'm just wondering, innovation just a little bit aside, shouldn't government policy kind of protect the Kisumu fishermen from the Chinese imports?
I saw somebody asked something about how do you do a defender strategy within a corrupt government or innovation, something like that. Mm-hmm. I think our biggest undoing is corruption, because that a defender strategy, what it would have done is to empower the local fishermen,
yes,
so that they can be able to produce fish. Because what China does, and I have been there myself and told by the Chinese themselves, the government supports their business people so that they can compete at the international level. For example, the philosophy they use is that instead of giving handouts to people who are unemployed, mm-hmm. that money that you'd have used for handout, use it to provide markets for their products. So the government strategy is to go out into the world and look for markets for their products. That is what they do. So the fishermen of China can do their fish farming, but the government goes out and looks for a market. It comes to Kenya and negotiates for a fish market. And where is it stationed? In Kisumu,
where they are used to eating fish.
Not only used to eating, fish is then imported in quotes or exported from Kisumu to the rest of Kenya. So you in Nairobi, you imagine that this fish has just come from Kisumu. So it is Kisumu fish. But it is not Kisumu fish. It is Kisumu it is China via Kisumu.
That story, Bishop, it is making me not feel nice. I don't know.
I'm glad you're not feeling nice. I'm still trying to answer the question about government. Okay. Because government must be also innovative if you're going to survive. Previously, we were monopolies. Each government was a monopoly, as it were, because you had your specific market. For example, Kenya, we supply flowers, we supply coffee, we supply tea, we supply tourism and all that. And we were kind of a monopoly in those sectors. Now, when the world opens, other people are supplying flowers and other people are supplying coffee and other people are supplying tea, and other countries have opened up for tourism. So if you are not innovative, you get stuck. Yes. We were in the US with my family, and we were one of the days our host said, let's take you out, see around the country and so on. And we went to this museum place, and they have several places you can see in that place. Here when you hear of a museum, you know what pictures come to your mind. So we went to this museum place, and one of the places which was a high attraction, we were told you have to go and see, is to go and see some grass. So they have built these towers of wooden towers. You climb up there and you watch. And right there before you is nothing but ordinary grass, bush that you can find anywhere in Kenya. Unkempt and kept we asked ourselves, why would anybody pay money to come and see this? But people are paying money to come and see it. We have so many places in our country that could be developed and become major tourist attractions. And I'm thinking to myself, we are paying money for nothing here, for absolutely nothing. And then bus loads that were coming to that place to see nothing. But it's only because it has been developed, it has been, So I go to 14 Falls. There's a beautiful scenery there, but it is not developed for tourism. I can tell you so many things. And the world is becoming very competitive. So nations have to position themselves. Dubai was created from zero as I was alive, in my lifetime.
A great innovation, that one.
Yes, they just started from zero in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Now it is like the capital of the world. The best everything is in Dubai. The tallest building in the world, the largest what, the biggest what, all these things. And this place is a desert. And now you go there, you see lush green sidewalks and what? I mean, amazing.
Innovation.
Innovation. So nations also have to be innovative. So as a country, we cannot afford to remain doing things the same old way. We must think, we must break down our systems. I've been very happy with some of our government departments and the innovative ideas they're coming up with. Like just recently, the judiciary launched a digital system of doing things that now you can lodge your cases and all that. Police the other day have launched a digital way of reporting cases and the OB numbers and so on, so that files that used to get lost don't get lost anymore. But these are good beginnings, but have to be taken to another level. Wow. I think I've given you a very long answer to a very short question.
Thank you. We appreciate. Going back to where we left it in the defender strategy, Herbert says in Kenya, you try that defender strategy and you will be trying it at your own risk or as your own peril. Multinationals are able to do so due to their capital capacity. When you start keeping quails, everybody will go that same route. He is saying basically this doesn't work in this country. What do you think?
Not quite, because
yes,
those people who have found what you call a niche, you have a niche, then you can apply that defender strategy. Now, the defender strategy as an innovative strategy is that you keep refining. If you are the first one to discover this quail business, what is it that you saw about quails? What then you need to do is to keep refining that thing so that the people who come in just because they have had quail is making money will soon fall away. They'll fall by the roadside. And you keep going. That's what we talked about focus in the previous our previous session. We talked about focus. So there are people who go into a business sector or a service sector simply to make money. And serious business people have said money can never be your key objective or vision. If you go into any sector to make money, most likely you will be out of that sector in a very short while. So there must be something that is driving you to go into that sector. And
money is not good enough.
Money is a byproduct. Money should always be a byproduct, not the main product. So if you go in, that's why people who go for money, you'll find them everywhere. You know, they have no focus. They hear now money is in quails, they go to quails. That money is finished. Money is in gambling, they're into gambling. Money is in buildings, they go to building. Money is in this place, they go to that place. So because they are chasing after money, and the Bible says it does not satisfy and it's a God. It will drive you crazy. So you must go into a sector with a specific reason and a motive that can last you a lifetime, a motive that can last you a long time.
A lifetime.
And if you have that particular vision that is driving you into that particular area, then you are able to stick with it even when it is not bringing money. You are able to stick with it even when other people come into your space. And those people will soon die off. And they will
and I'll be left.
You'll be left there selling your quills. Yes.
Just let's talk about quills just a bit. So what is that? I honestly think that most of the people that went into the business of quills, it's as a money-making venture. What is that which the original person you're talking to may have had other than? Give us an example of a good life-lasting motive for going into coil business, for example.
I do not know what motivated the person. It could still be money. But if, for example, you find that there's something special about quills, maybe nutritionally, whatever, that you have discovered, and you believe that this is something that our people need. Do you see? So yes, you are meeting a need in the society. That need is what will keep you in business. Because as long as that need is still there, you are in business. Yeah. So now what you will be improving on is how to meet that need in a different way. As it evolves, you make it better. You make it. You provide a more efficient way of doing it. And that's what the defender strategy does. So, if let's say, just for the sake of argument, like they say that quail eggs have a high nutritional value,
medicinal,
even medicinal. Let's say that is actually true. Let's say that's actually true. And it has this medicinal nutritional value that is unique to quails. And it is a need in society, Yes. So you are bringing the unique medicinal value of quail eggs to the unique need of a community, people in the community. So what then you are selling is not quail eggs. You are meeting a need in society.
All right.
So that need will persist unless it was a temporary problem like COVID-19 is maybe a temporary problem, and hopefully one day will go,
Amen. Amen.
But if it is a consistent need that is there over time, and you are focused on meeting that need, the people who come into quail business for the business will fall off with time, Yeah, yes. Because many people will come and they follow. But for you, because as they are coming in, you have discovered other ways of providing this or meeting this need. And as long as you are meeting that need, you have your customers. And you refine the way you are doing it, like we talked about last time. Because innovation requires that you refine the way you are providing your service, the way you are providing your products. And so as these people come to sell ordinary eggs, perhaps you have discovered that it can be, packaged in a particular way. You can extract the particular nutrient that is within the quail and package it in pills, I'm just thinking.
You could easily flourish in the quail business, my Bishop.
Yeah. So now you are providing quail pills, you know. I'm just
That
thinking.
is so funny.
So you see, really there are these people who now will be offering ordinary quail eggs. You have moved to quail egg pills, you know. You have gone to another level, but you're still offering the same product.
All right.
Are we together?
Yes,
so
we are.
That's what innovation does. But if you go in for money cannot keep you in business.
Okay,
money cannot
I hear
keep
you.
In business. Yeah,
I hear you. Before we go perhaps to part 2 or number 2 of these strategies, in talking about the defender strategy, you talked about patenting.
Yes.
I would have imagined that that's always a good thing, so that your how do we put it? The
product or service is
yes,
patented.
or
yes.
or the amount of time it took your head to do this innovation can be protected from just anyone picking. I would have thought that that's a good idea for any product, any innovation. But now it's coming under the defender strategy that also seems to have to get problematic here and there.
No, defender strategy is not a bad thing. It's not a bad strategy. And I've given you some examples of very successful companies like Coca-Cola, like Apple, and so on. They are very successful. But it is a very difficult strategy to maintain because people are always fighting to get into that space. So that is why you have to build a hedge around yourself. You have to build a wall around yourself. The very name is defender. You have to defend your territory.
Yes.
And you know that defensive battle is normally more difficult than offensive. Yeah. So it is not that defender.
No. Don't
but ask your question.
Don't leave that statement too fast. Defense battle, when you're on the defense, it's harder than when you're on the offensive.
Yes, well, for sure.
In any battle.
Yes. In any battle, it's more difficult to defend yourself than to be on the offensive. You see, the person on the offensive has the whole world, the latitude to bring in this and that. You have heard of if you're pushed to the corner. What does that mean? You know?
That you're pushed to the corner. You are pushed. You're left with
very little options.
Yes, with no option, with no space.
So a person who is pushed to the corner is now fighting a defensive battle.
To survive.
To survive. Because the options are limited and you are cornered there. You know?
I'm cornered,
the person who has put you at the corner has the rest of the room.
I see.
You see. So when you are put to the defense, even those of us who watch soccer, when a team is playing a defensive game, most likely they're going to be beaten. Because
I have noticed that.
You have noticed that. Because you can't score by defending. You can't score by defending.
Yes. I can see all they are doing is make sure it doesn't get to their goal.
Yes, that's a defensive game. And in business, it is the same. In any field, it is the same. So if you are always playing a defensive game, you can be sure you are going to be beaten one of these days. Because they just have to keep pushing on you, you know?
Yes.
And they will get you.
I'll be done.
You will be done. So I gave the example, for example, of Apple. When it started, they took this approach. Do you know there's a time you could not go to a shop and buy an iPhone? You could not. You had to register. And yes, and they give you a code. You become a club member. You couldn't just walk into a shop and buy an Apple phone. You see? So so they worked, like, for example, when they came into Kenya, they worked through Telcom, So you could only get an Apple phone by registering through Telcom and get a Telcom line. You couldn't get it on Safaricom. You couldn't put a Safaricom SIM card in Apple phone. You couldn't. That was their strategy. And it was like that across the world. So you didn't just buy an Apple because you want to buy an Apple phone. But you see, they were pushed to the corner until they had to open up. So
they had to get flexible.
They had to get flexible. So now you can go to a shop and buy yourself an Apple phone. So
and I don't have to be too wealthy to do that.
You don't have to. At least you have to be a little more wealthy than others. Because Apple phones still don't come cheap.
Yes, they still don't.
Comparatively, I mean, if you are buying an Apple phone of a particular level and you compare with a similar phone in the same range, Apple phone most likely will be more expensive. Yeah, that is just the way they position themselves. And that is true of their computers, it's true of their every other product. So, but that defender strategy, people keep pushing into that territory. And eventually they will overcome you. That's why even Jesus said he's building his church and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. It is a defensive fight on the side of hell. I think we have normally understood it as a defensive fight on the side of the church. No, the battle is being brought to the gates of hell, which have been shut. Okay?
Yes.
But because now they have cornered, the church will prevail and has prevailed for 2,000 years.
We are on the offensive.
We are on the offensive.
Praise God.
Praise God. Or at least we are supposed to be on the offensive. We are not the ones who are defending. I know many of us Christians operate as if we are the ones on the defense. The devil is always beating on us. The devil is doing this and the devil has done that. No, we are the ones who, the devil should be complaining. These people, they are always on us. But
they're always at our gate.
Yes, they're always at our gate. So Jesus puts us on the offensive and says, the gates of hell shall not prevail.
Amen.
Because we are the ones who are bombarding the gates of hell. Satan has been put at a corner through the death of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
When he said it is finished, it was done, it was finished. The devil is a defeated foe. He may be fighting, but he is fighting a losing battle because he's on the offensive.
Yes.
And one of these days, we are going to overcome completely.
Amen. 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 Melissa, Jesh, we just want to appreciate you listening to us all the way from Doha in Qatar. And you're always listening. Now you can watch us on Facebook, and you say you're always expecting to be taught and to learn. Anthony Otuoma, thank you for your kind comments. And Stephen Ochieng says that defender strategy for him was a new word. I love that new word. Andrew Wahome is learning a great lesson. And Maleche asks, can the balance, remember, I was asking the balance between within the defender strategy and being flexible. And Maleche asked, can the balance be like KQ, Kenya Airways, having their jumbo jet? Is that a good balance in business?
That is what we call stratifying. Is
it the segmenting you talked about?
No, that's not segmenting. Segmenting is usually the market. You segment. Okay. Well, it could be. It could be part of segmenting, because Jumbo Jet is is a KQ product that is geared towards a particular group of people, so that they retain the normal KQ flights for people who are willing to pay a little more and want a little more luxury, as it were, but produce this other product, which for people for whom money is an issue. You know, I want to fly, but I want to fly at a low cost.
Yes.
So since all that you want is to fly, you don't care about luxury, then we give you this product, which is Jumbo Jet. You pay a little less, but you don't get the other luxury things. You have no refreshments. You pay for, you don't carry any goods, you know, and if you carry, you pay for them separately. So if you are just dashing quickly to Mombasa for something quick, which means you don't have a suitcase and so on, you can pay much less. Just go with your carry-on bag, pay a little less. There is no business class. You sit with everybody else, and there you are. You saved your money. If you take the same flight on a normal KQ flight, you'll be charged whether you have the bag or not. You'll be charged for the bag because bags are not normally charged. The cost is already built into your ticket. You will get your refreshments. You can choose where you sit and so on and so forth, but you pay a little more. So that is now you stratify your products so that you give different people different kinds of products. But KQ, in my view, was overtaken partly because of their defender strategy. And now we are not talking about the Jumbo Jet, but for a very long time, they were a monopoly, enjoying that monopoly space. And it appears we are not really prepared for a competitive environment. And so when the market was opened, and locally there are other airlines that have come on board, internationally there's a big competitive environment, and then combine that with our own internal problems of corruption and so on, they just could not survive. And that is unfortunately has brought our big airline to the ground. So it's a very unfortunate kind of example, excuse, that we should not even talk about. I think about KQ and I feel very, very sad that it went that way. But talking about that, what happened with Jumbo Jet, a company or an organization can actually segment its own products or services if a competition comes into your regular space. Let me use church again. I went to this church in again in the US, and what they have done, because they had positioned themselves as a middle to younger congregation, so middle age to younger congregation, contemporary. It's a very contemporary service, but then they are in that environment where there are also a lot of older people. And the way the contemporary services are being run is such that the older people were feeling uncomfortable. So what they did is that they created another service, which they call the country service. And this service is primarily for they don't say it is for the older people, but they say for those people who would love hymns and old songs and old style of worship. And it's amazing how that service also just grew, because you go in there and it is very dynamic, but they only sing hymns and they sing the old songs. and it is an old style of worship. And many older people found themselves there. Like what one of our stations locally has done, that they only play the old music. And many people listen to that station because they play old music. So you can actually do that in any kind of environment. I say Peter is come back.
Yes. And also Ombo is back.
And also Ombo is back, yes. So that's I hope that answers your question.
It does.
KQ. Yeah.
It really does, Bishop. And we will just hang it there for today so that we can pick it up next week. That will be on Monday at 11. Peter, we want to thank you. I know you really need to get us to listen to the news at 1 o'clock. Everybody who was with us, every comment, every question, we want to just thank you for being part of this program every Monday here at Hope FM, now also online. God bless you. Have a blessed week ahead. I'm Ombo, and that was our Bishop, David Oginde, on the Leadership Forum. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you know the Friends of Hope is an initiative of Hope Media? Through this initiative, we are able to partner with others who are keen to ensure that we keep hope alive. Through your support, we are sharing the hope we have with many others who are yet to embrace hope. You too can become a part of this initiative today. Send your contribution of any amount to M-Pesa paybill number 933933. Account name Friends of Hope. For more information regarding Friends of Hope, please email friendsofhope@hopefm.org or SMS FOH to 20933. Join Friends of Hope today. Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive. Another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries.